So let's go ahead and play with some lighting. So in our new scene, the first thing I want to do is I want to remove the directional light that came with the default scene. Our level already has a sunlight that we're going to be working with. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to position my camera so that I have a clear view of my game in a comfortable position. So I'm just going to bring it back a bit here. If you'd like to have the same values, my main camera is set at 5.17 on the X, 2.03 on the Y, 7.55 on the Z, and negative 172.68 on the Y for the rotation. Basically, I just want to have a view of my scene in the overall direction our game takes place. So let's go ahead and mess with some lighting. If you go into your market here and you drop into your lights folder, we have a sunlight. Now our sunlight is a directional light. The directional light does not matter where I place it. I could place this thing 500,000 meters away and the light isn't going to change. It's your sun for the game. One thing I want to mention here is that our directional light, you can increase the intensity here. So we can increase the intensity. You'll see here in real time that does adjust. So what I want to do here is let's go ahead and make this about maybe like 1.0, maybe 1. Oh, sorry, not 10. I'm going to go ahead and keep my light at 1. And you can go ahead and actually adjust the color of this if you wanted to. So you can actually go ahead and create we're outdoors, so you want to give it more of a hotter temperature look. So maybe more like a red, a reddish type look. I'm actually going to go ahead and keep it sort of peach-like, so I'm kind of happy with this right here. But by all means, go ahead and adjust the color if you'd like. Now we have a mode here. So right now, go ahead and make sure you're in real-time mode. And then also you can adjust your shadows. So if you want no shadows, you have no shadows. If you want hard shadows, you can have hard edge shadows, or you can have soft shadows. I'm going to go ahead and keep mine on soft shadows. The next thing I want to do is looking at our scene here, there are things that look like they're supposed to kind of light up here. So our sunlight is doing majority of the work of lighting our scene. However, we can actually complement our scene by adding in point lights. So go ahead and right click your lights and let's add a new light, point light. A point light is basically an area light that's going to give light to a certain range. So here we have a range of 10 by default. If we actually shrink that down to maybe about 5, and then what I want to do is I want to put this point light just below this fish sign. I want to make it look as if that fish sign is illuminating. So I'm going to go ahead and put it up there, and you'll see here that our fish sign is now gives the illusion that it's sort of illuminating. What I can do here, I feel like my scene is a little too bright for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my sunlight here, and I'm actually going to lower the intensity of the scene here. I'm going to make it about 0.6. Yeah, much happier with that. And now you can see here that my point light does look like we have a sort of intensity off of that sign. What I can do then is I can actually adjust the color of this. So when you're outdoors, you really want to use your bright colors. So for instance, I can go ahead and make this a reddish look if I want to, but ultimately because it's a blue sign, we'll go ahead and give it a sky blue. So let's go ahead and give it a sky blue, and as you can see, that looks really, really nice. If I want to, I can increase the intensity of this light, and now it looks like it shines. It really gives it more detail. So what we can do now is we can do the same thing with our coffee here. Let's go ahead and create a new point light. Right click your lights folder, go to light, and let's create another point light. And let's go ahead and place this by our coffee machine. So as you can see here, our range is a bit high. Once again, just shrink that down. It doesn't need to be that high, make it about 5. And what we're going to do is let's go ahead and move this towards our coffee machine. So really get the back of the coffee machine, sort of like the wall and the sign. That's what I want lit. So if we go ahead and that's sort of a beige color, the wall. So let's go ahead and give it a nice yellow look. We'll give it a yellow light intensity, and we'll go ahead and increase the intensity. And as you can see, it sort of backlights that wall there. And I think it looks really, really nice. We can actually decrease the range just a bit. And we can go ahead and move that a little closer out. And I think that looks really good right there. Increase that a bit. And there you go. So as you can see, point lights are just making our game just sort of pop and give it that extra little polished detail. So another place where we can add this is actually right here in between the markets here. We have this sign. We can make this blue sign look as if it's illuminating the area. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and create a new light, point light. And once again, decrease the range, make it about 5. I find that typically about 5 range is pretty good. And put it next to this light. And as you can see here, now if you want to get a good look at it from your game view, just go ahead and click on your main camera. And let's rotate our character to look at that sign. So head back to our lights, go to our point light. And let's see here. So looking at this point light, let's go ahead and increase the intensity. And now that's a blue sign. So let's go ahead and find a light blue to give it. Sort of like a shade of blue. And we can go ahead and increase the intensity. And we can go ahead and move this up a bit. Kind of in. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm actually okay with that. Maybe decrease the intensity a bit just to give it a little bit of a glow. And go ahead and get it so that kind of sticks out here. Raise it up. Okay, I'm actually pretty happy with that. I think that looks really nice. And like I said, guys, this is just to give it a little bit of touch to where the natural sunlight isn't going to light these up. So we use point lights to bring life into it. And I am going to increase the intensity just a bit here. Okay, last but not least, guys, there's one more opportunity here, and that is our Slurp soda machine here. Let's go ahead and increase the lighting on our Slurp soda machine. Let's go ahead and create another point light. We'll go ahead and position this. So here's our point light. Whoops, I put it inside that as a child. Let's go ahead and move this one down and position it near the Slurp sign. So now that Slurp sign, I imagine, is supposed to illuminate red. So let's go ahead and place it there. Let's make our camera and our game view it. So let's go ahead and rotate us back around to about 171. And let's click on our point light. And let's go ahead and increase the intensity just so we can start seeing some effects here. Set the range to about 5. And where is this light? Why don't we see it? Oh, okay, it's all the way back there. Here we go. There's our light. Okay, so let's go ahead and position this where we want it, which is about on the sign of it. So here, go ahead and raise it up. Go ahead and position it over. And we can go ahead and drop the intensity a bit. But now what I want to do is I need to find a bright red. So here we can go ahead, use a bright red, maybe a actual purplish look would actually look pretty cool here, maybe a bright pinkish look. And let's go ahead and increase the intensity. All right, and basically what we want to do with this is just want to sort of light up the back wall behind it. All right, and there we go. Okay, I think all of our point lights are really looking great right now. And one more thing we can do actually is on this point light specifically, the range does not need to be that big. And we can go ahead and lower that a bit. Okay, so next thing I want to show you guys is reflection probes. Reflection probes are super awesome. They basically take a sample of our environment and reflect surfaces off of it. So this is going to take our environment and create a circular HDR, which is a high dynamic range, based on what it sees in your environment. If you have a surface that is reflective, it's going to reflect off of that. So HDR is basically an image that is greater than 8 bits and has lots of information on whites and blacks. You can use it to create really nice reflections. Okay, so let's go ahead and create some reflection probes. We're going to have 2 of them for performance reasons on our scene. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to place a reflection probe on our floor. So under your lights here, right click, light, and go ahead and create a reflection probe. You'll see here in the scene view, you'll get this little circular metallic ball. This ball is what's going to sample our actual environment. And basically, if you look at it in the scene view here, or in the inspector, you'll see here that it's sampling our area. What we can do with this is control the reflective surfaces. So by moving this around and letting the scene update, you'll notice inside the scene view that it's actually adjusting the reflective surfaces based on where I move it, and you can see the adjustments in the game view. Now I'm going to show you how we can actually adjust the reflective nature of our actual floor tile, which is getting the sample of this. So I'm going to go ahead and place this here. And the next thing I want to do is I want to click on the little edit box colliders. We want to expand the entire horizontal length of our scene here to be included in the sample size. The next thing I want to do is I want to get the entire map, but I don't want to have all this blank empty space. That's a waste of resources. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another reflection probe. Go ahead and duplicate this, and we're going to move this one over to the other side of the map. And we're going to put that one right here. Now looking in your game view, what we want to do here is take this reflection probe that we just created. We want to modify the colliders by clicking this little edit collider, bring it in, and I want to overlay it to the existing one. And watch in the game view what happens as I do that. Now we get a nice smooth crossfade between both of these. And as you can see here, in real time you'll see that. So now we have reflection probes set up for our entire map. What we want to do now is we want to modify the surfaces of this material. Now, the reflective material on our floor is using a standard shader by Unity. So check this out. We want to modify that material. Inside our game folder, we have a material called ground floor tile. I believe that's what it is called. It is called ground floor. Let's see here. We have a market floor. Here it is. It is the market floor tile sand. So this here is a material, and as you can see here in the inspector, it looks very reflective. Well, that reflectiveness is coming from its metallic nature. So here we have a metallic sample that we can actually adjust, and as we increase the sample, you can see that it becomes extremely metallic versus no metallic. We can also increase the smoothness, and now we have an insanely reflective surface. So as you can see here, all the colors of the surrounding area are being drawn onto the floor. So to really smooth this out, what we can do is we can lower the metallic and we can lower the smoothness to get a level of reflection that we personally like. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and set my smoothness to about 0.3, and I'll set my metallic to 0.3 and my smoothness to about 3.6 or 0.36. Now there's also another thing you can change, which is the normal map, and this is the definition of the floor. And you can see here, as you adjust this, you get a really slippery, glossy look. So finding the right value for this is really your preference. I'm going to go ahead and keep this at about 0.62. So that's your basic fundamental introduction to lighting and materials and how we can create sort of like reflective surfaces. There is a whole lot of information on lighting that can ideally be part of its own course. And this is really just an introduction to get you involved with making things look amazing in Unity. Now, if you got an error called request error here, it's nothing. You can just go ahead and clear it and everything is okay. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson on lighting, and I'll see you in the next video.